Hello everybody, my name is Laura and welcome to Sunday Morning Knits, my channel where I talk about all the fiber related crafts that I have been getting up to lately. So today I have a bit of a different kind of video coming at you. I have rounded up a whole bunch of patterns that I think are stunning and beautiful and inspired by Sézane's Spring 2025 collection, and I'm going to be sharing all of them with you. One note before I jump into this, actually two notes before I jump into this. All of these patterns, except for one, are completely size inclusive and go up to at least 60 inches in bust. One that is not size inclusive, I decided to include in here because I know that the designer intends to increase the size range to make it fully size inclusive. I hope that the designer does that. My second note is that all of these will be in a bundle that you can find linked in the show notes down below. That'll bring you to the bundle on my Ravelry page if you're interested in trying out any of the patterns. So let's get started. I'm so excited for this video. Oh my gosh, I adore Sézane. All of their stuff. I have a cardigan from Sézane that I have worn so much I have actually felted the sleeves, or like felted the beautiful lace cuffs. So I'm very excited to share this collection of patterns with you. So I have 10. And I'm going to break them down in terms of cardigans, vest or sleeveless top, t-shirts, and then sweaters. So the first cardigan I want to talk about is the Angie cardigan. This is a beautiful kid silk mohair cardigan. I actually have this cardigan in the cream colorway. It's the one that I have felted the beautiful lace sleeves of. And I think that the Amazoni cardigan 2.0 by Chandal et Cardigan, I hope I'm pronouncing that right, is very similar and very beautiful as well. So they have similar features of like the beautiful lace scallop edge going along the cardigan button band. The lace is just a little bit bigger on the Amazoni cardigan. So this cardigan comes in sizes from extra small all the way up to 5XL, ranging from 89 centimeters to 169 centimeter bust. That is a 66.5 inch bust. And the recommended positive ease of this cardigan is 10 to 15 centimeters. It is 2 strands of lace held together, so you could do various different kinds of lace. It doesn't have to be mohair. You could also do like 2 strands of merino lace, 2 strands of cashmere lace, but that'll give you a little bit of a different vibe than the Angie cardigan. The Angie cardigan is kid silk mohair. Nope, it's not kid silk. It's just mohair. I don't think there's any silk in it. It's just mohair. So if you want a Sézane vibe, I would recommend going with 2 strands of mohair. This pattern is also available in both English and French. The next cardigan that I found something similar for is the Basile cardigan. I think the Handknit cardigan by Knit is very similar and very beautiful, very similar ways. They both have that beautiful deep V-neck and the brioche style stitch on them, that very, very puffy stitch. So the Handknit cardigan by Knit is a brioche cardigan, which will mimic that beautiful texture on the Basile cardigan. As with Knit's patterns, this goes from extra small to 5XL. The maximum bust of this pattern is 59 inches. I know that's not quite 60 inches. I think that's just a rounding thing for the centimeters. I think that's just like a conversion thing. This pattern is recommended to have 10 to 15 centimeters of positive ease, and it is knit with a fingering and a lace combination. This pattern comes in lots of languages, as is fairly usual for petite knit, and I think, like I said, this captures a lot of the beautiful texture features of the Basile cardigan. So the next category that I have is vests and sleeveless tops. The first top that I wanted to talk about is the Francisco top. I think a beautiful pattern, if you wanted to knit something in this style, would be the Barbaro top by Pernille Larsen for Knitting for Olive. This pattern goes all the way from teen to 5XL, so 25¼ inches to 59¾ inches. Again, not quite 60 inches, but I think that's just a rounding thing from the centimeters. This top has negative ease. Sézane tops normally have positive ease. I do believe the Francisco top has some positive ease to it. So if you wanted to get more of a Sézane look, I would recommend maybe not going with the negative ease recommended for the Barbaro top. The barber top is knit in fingering weight. This one has been on my list for so long. I really want to knit this top. It's so beautiful. And once again, I think the barber top really matches that beautiful texture of the Francisco top, even though it's not exactly the same. I think the vibe is still there for the texture. Okay, so my next category is t-shirts. So there are a ton of beautiful like t-shirt style tops at Sézane right now. So I had a lot of fun looking through all of these, but the first one that came into my mind was when I saw the Edwin jumper. I immediately thought of the Campanula tee by Cupid Knits. Now this is the one that is not fully size inclusive. So right now the Campanula tee only goes up to 53 inches, but the designer does intend to increase that to be size inclusive. It is knit on a sport weight yarn. I actually have yarn to make this pattern myself. I'm using the recommended yarn, which is BC Garn Summer and Cashmere. I'm very excited. This top is recommended to have 15 to 25 centimeters of negative ease. The amount of negative ease is different depending on the size of the garment. So the first half, the smaller sizes, recommends 15 to 20 centimeters of negative ease, and the second half of the sizes, the larger sizes, the designer recommends 20 to 25 centimeters of negative ease. The rib texture between these two garments is just perfect. I think the Campanula tee definitely captures all of that stunning texture and all the beautiful like lace kind of, not lace, but like frilly edge around the top of the tee. I think they're just very similar and very stunning. The Campanula tee is definitely on my list to knit this year. Next, I have the Lila jumper. And for this one, I've actually picked two patterns that I think capture the beauty of the Lila jumper. Now, the Lila jumper has some features such as this like V-neck texture that's different from the rest of the texture on the garment, and I couldn't quite find that captured in another pattern, but I have two patterns that I think capture the rest of the beautiful lace texture very well. So the first one is the Summerwood tee. This is by Liv Ullin. The bust range goes from 33 inches to 61.5 inches. The designer recommends 0 to 5 centimeters or 0 to 2 inches of positive ease, and it is knit on a fingering weight top. The next one I have is the Fleur tee. This is by Brianna Mason, and the bust range for this one is 29.25 inches to 61.25 inches. For this one, the designer actually recommends -2 inches of ease to -3 inches, so this one has negative ease. Again, Sézane garments normally have like a positive ease, to get that kind of like effortless, flowy French vibe. I'm sure that you could make this with positive ease instead of negative ease. Just pick the corresponding size, but this pattern is recommended by the designer to have negative ease. This is also knit on fingering weight. I have yarn in stash, and I'm going to be making this top as soon as I'm done 2 of my other t-shirts that are on my needles, and I am so excited. In this category, I also have the Eloy jumper, which is a very, very, very beautiful top. I recommend, if you wanted to knit something similar to this, the Bygone Blouse by Lydia Morrow. This pattern has a bust circumference from 27 inches to 59 inches. It has negative ease, although I couldn't quite find out how much negative ease it has based on the Ravelry description, but it has negative ease, and it is knit on fingering weight yarn. Something very cool about this pattern is that it includes bust shaping. So it's very tailored to your body, like the different dimensions, all of that kind of thing. I really love that. I'm just finishing up a project with bust shaping for the very first time, and I highly, highly recommend it. Having that tailored fit just elevates the quality of your garment, so I highly recommend. The next category that I want to talk about is my sweaters or pullovers category. The first pattern, or the first garment that I want to talk about, is the Lucas jumper. For this pattern, I recommend the Wanaka sweater by Anna Elizabeth Anderson. This pattern has a bust circumference of 31 inches to 63 inches. The recommended positive ease is about 20 centimeters or 9 inches. This is knit with DK weight yarn, and in order to get the kind of Lucas jumper vibe, I would recommend adding some stripes into this. Very particularly, I recommend navy blue and white stripes. That's very Sézane, very marinière vibes. So that is my recommendation for how to get the kind of Lucas jumper vibes. Finally, I have the Abby jumper. Now this jumper is so beautiful, and I had a lot of trouble finding a pattern that I felt really captured the gorgeous all over lace texture of this pattern, and I settled on the Acorn Pullover by Sari Nordland. This has a bust circumference of 37.75 inches to 68.5 inches, and it recommends 6 to 8 inches of positive ease. This sweater is knit with DK weight yarn. The reason I chose this is because I felt like the texture of the Acorn Pullover in that kind of, I don't want to say like it's in a line, but it's in like a very recognizably repeatable pattern, really captures the recognizable repeatable pattern from the Abby jumper. I know that the lace textures aren't quite the same, but I felt like they give off the same kind of vibe between the two of them, and they are both with positive, both sweaters have positive ease. So you really get that like French effortless kind of style going on with both sweaters. So that is it for the patterns that I wanted to share today. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you like this kind of video, please let me know down in the comments. I would love to hear. I've never done a video like this before, so I'd love to know if you like this kind of thing. Thank you so much for watching. If you make any of these patterns, or if you've made any of them in the past, please let me know down in the comments. And I hope you have a lovely rest of your week. Happy knitting. See you next time. Bye.